Genji for it. This time, LFM. They'll take us to Towers of Doom, a map they feel very comfortable on. Dreadnought, they have a very good record on this coming into this weekend. 4-2, by far their best win rate, most successful overall. Next best for them was Volsky at a 4-3 mark, but 4-2, a map they're comfortable on. A map that we also know that Octalysis sit in at 3-3 on this map. Not bad, not great. When you sit just average, LFM will take their chances on their best battleground now.
I think the coolest thing about Towers of Doom, especially with looking against Octalysis, I feel like it would be one of the better battlegrounds to take them to based on some of the rules break, right? Like not having the opportunity to end the game immediately if you get that snowball lead. Yes, you can snowball, but it's only in one area of the battleground and very usually consistent, right? I have better siege, I've gained bottom bell tower control, I'm going to be very oppressive with my sapper maintenance over that time frame. So because it is so clear-cut how that happens, your ability to answer to that, no matter how wild the draft, should be pretty easy.
The Genji got let through last game. This is a map where we know Genji can be flexible in the early game throughout, has great poke potential around the shrines, but the blow-up potential, I do look at it as that last pick. It's a matter of, okay, Raynor Phoenix, does that work, or does some combination of one of those plus Genji work? And then I think about the double support on the other side between a Tyrande and a Whitemane. I'm like, could Genji even crack through that? It's going to need a lot more. We didn't see the Muradin. We didn't see the Genji. Those are two heroes that if LFM does want to flex more into the aggressive role, that could be something that they could bring to the table.
Find out here as the draft's about to begin. Do we get ourselves a Medivh ever let through here on this modern patch? Do we think that there's a world where maybe the drafts do end up getting adjusted? Because for the most part, ban-wise, things have been the same. Pick-wise, not so much the case here.
Well, the one thing that I think LFM has to consider is that whenever Octalysis is in the second pick role, they will ban the hammer. They do not want Sergeant Hammer against them. They do not anticipate getting it during the second pick for themselves. When they're first pick, that's more likely the time that they will let it through. And it doesn't always mean they first pick it, but it's always a consideration.
See them thinking about it now. Zavithar sticking to a little bit more standard here.
No Medivh ban yet.
Yet. I'm afraid to say that too early, because there's been so few games that he has been able to be let through. Octalysis is rid of that hammer.
Yeah.
It's going to be the Medivh.
Is it?
Yeah, I've already written it down. It's true. Jokes.
I dreamt a half second longer,
yeah.
So they locked it in.
Yeah. I didn't even write it down. I lied to you. Tyrande first pick here, still from Octalysis. One of her better battlegrounds in the past based on interrupt capabilities, but she's not as good at interrupting, right?
But Al doesn't pierce anymore.
Yeah, but
away.
It's not bad enough. I think Tyrande is still going to be able to complement any channeling battleground pretty well. Wave clear, relevant, but not too concerning on this type of battleground.
How would you, if we just take out the normal, I was going to say pick Uther as the, look, if you don't get one or the other, you don't want to go Tyrande, Whitemane, Zul again. Maybe you just go Tyrande, Uther as the tank. There's your point and click CC, follow up from Tyrande. But the Uther pickup this early by LFM, they had to be on that wavelength.
They had to be a little bit on that wavelength, and we also have to remind that most of the compositions that Tyrande is going to play to, Uther not only in the past was one of the best answers, but he still is one of the best answers to immediate burst cooldown-oriented damage, which Octalysis and Tyrande very much endorse.
Yeah. Now that armor dishing out there, and you've got double doses of it, Yrel and Uther, the potential for that double armor. Yrel at level 4, we know that's been the pickup for quite some time now. 35 armor can stack with the Uther armor. That's enough to keep most heroes alive.
It is here, but with the Zeratul pickup and the single target isolation and damage capabilities of the Tyrande, it makes me concerned. They need to find more targets that can survive on their own and make their way into the void and not immediately get blown up. Genji and Valeera removed there, giving the assassin advantage hands down over to Octalysis, and the fact that they got themselves a Zeratul pre-third ban.
So we see a Valeera ban, and we've seen the multiple stealth picked up before. Samuro was the pickup, but that was with, who was it? Was it Goku on the Samuro in that game?
Goku.
Okay, so with Dahaka in play, it's very likely not going to be the case.
Yeah.
But there's always tricks. Hanzo, great for poke as well. Also has the Sonic Arrow for vision to reveal the Zeratul if needed.
A little bit more scouting, but is kind of vulnerable to the kill potential of the Zeratul itself. I also wonder, are they going to have enough damage, consistent damage output to be able to deal with it for now? But they do have that last slot to pick up the damage dealer and kind of round that hole within the composition so far. I'm ready here. What do we get at the end for Octalysis? It's a Tracer. Tracer Zeratul with the Tyrande white main double support Dahaka primary warrior. This is very different than the last composition. I feel like I need an hour just to talk about the differences in Octalysis drafts effectively, but this is actually really different than every other version we've gotten from them. And the biggest thing here is having themselves the double assassin threat potential with the double support, and then having a non-gap closing warrior opportunity with Dahaka. Last time we got that was Yrel initiating. Dahaka has very different initiation standards, Jay-How.
He comes from behind, and it normally requires a brush talk, or else he's running straight at you.
Yeah.
And those opportunities, once a minute. The Thrall last pickup does give you good poke against a Tracer if you can just hit her with the Q from time to time. Can tank and survive in a lot of situations. But the more I look at this draft, Tracer looks good here. Pulse Bomb against armor doesn't work as well. But if you can find some way to lock down somebody else in another place, I just always look at who trades out with Tracer. Hanzo does okay because the attack range, unless he goes Redemption, it's going to be reliant on auto attack. Make sure you hit your Stormbow from poke to poke. But when you have the double dose of a Zeratul, it's threatening. If this is any other team where I see Zeratul Tracer in this composition, I'm like, well, that's going to be tough to pull off. But knowing that Octalysis probably practices this on the daily, I'm going to give them the benefit of the doubt.
Yeah, and there's one synergy we haven't really gotten to see come to light that much, but I think within this composition we probably will get it. Because normally I'd be like, at first I was like, I'm not sure how I feel about the Tracer as much, but it was the consideration of the double support with the Tracer helps a lot, but they didn't. White main is the only one of the few supports left in this meta that can heal her in a safe position. Yeah, and not be in a bad spot. As long as you throw a Zeal passive on her and then get the damage output later, it doesn't matter what Tracer's doing, you're still helping her. So you have that Malfurion, regrowth impact without the risky positioning.
That's definitely a good point you bring up. That was what Dignitas had used earlier this year with the Malfurion. With a similar style, you hit the regrowth, then you hit that Moonfire. That's a very good point. We'll see how that plays here. Does give you several opportunities to move around. You have the double support in case you always need to come back. I mean, burst healing, double charges from Tyrande. You can double stack that. We know that White Main has several burst opportunities for healing, so even in dire situations, be a lot going.
Yeah, and I think to, kind of elaborate a little bit more here on that is just because there is the double squishy backliner that has that need to be above a specific threshold of HP to be comfortable, that being the Zeratul and the Tracer. They demand a specific amount of resources when you're a support player playing with them. Zeratul needs to sit about that 65 threshold before he usually feels comfortable taking a risky wormhole trade and making something happen. Tracer's the same thing for the post bomb recall kind of capabilities. And if the Tyrande's always making sure that everybody maintains that, she's maybe not getting the most optimal heals for the team fight. You say the double support makes up for that, but I still think purely on the chaos and the mobility that those two characters have, if you don't have that Mouth-esque support that has that mobile healing, I just think it falls apart. That White Main is a very, very important element in this comp.
See how it unfolds. All very good points you make for the potential success of this Octalysis draft. Knowing everything that I know about Octalysis and knowing what I saw from game one, and I see this draft, I could pretty much tell you what the names are going to be above those characters. And then I get into the game and I'm like, yep, none of them are pretty much what I thought. Prismap moving over to the Tyrande, an auto attack style hero with heals. Draded, the Tracer player for this team. And Justine, he's like, well, Goku, you're our Dahaka player. You stay the Dahaka player. I'm going to be on Zeratul. They break the rules of their own team even.
I will say the Goku on Dahaka, even in the primary warrior role, one of the few Dahakas I feel like we have maybe in the world that I'd be like, yep, I'm going to make sure that is always the case no matter what roster. He can get away with that level of play here. Zapper trying to be escorted on bottom. Nobody really getting the major upper hand. And Jay-How, we see the double support lack of wave clear battle kind of coming to light here. Hanzo doing his best to further that advance. But it really is just the Tracer plus double supports just healing it out.
I spent maybe 2.5 hours, 2 hours minimum, talking with Goku about every single primary solo laner in the game just the other day. And some of the things that I see just on the mini-map and things that we caught briefly up at the top, it's profound, all the small things that you don't always realize that players in his role are doing to give the best effort. You're not going to win every matchup. It's not your job to win every matchup. It's the way that you play it. And some of the things that he's doing now and the way that he talked about and the thought process that he puts into that role, I highly recommend stopping by. If you like to watch streams, he does stream primarily from that solo role. He likes to play Alarak as well, which is always fun. Yeah. But some of the thought process he gives, it's so unique that I think a lot of people would benefit from hearing his perspective on what he does and why he does it. It's very, very smart.
There's you know, I don't know whether or not it was necessarily the source of it, and surely he has grown far beyond that as a player. But I will say, I do know with his time early when he moved into the professional scene here, hold on, a lot of pressure on the bottom half. We'll get back to Goku in a moment, as he may brush talk down in a moment. 4 versus 4 for now over this altar, patiently waiting in the scrub though. Urel, Swab's gonna go ahead and leap in as Chimera starts the channel.
Here he comes. He's here. See if he can land anything. The interrupt was there. Swab's trying to zone out on the top end of this. Justin missing the singularity spike. But Octalysis moving forward, trying to make a play of their own. The double support holding strong, but Dark Chimera is doing a very good job of managing his mana and the health bars of LFM.
Yeah, and also Droplets is doing a really good job of constantly keeping up that harassment there on that Hanzo, getting as much auto attack threat as he can get in the downtime, even without the redemption. Still value. A lot of pressure onto Goku as the lead comes out. Chimera gets interrupted. Actually used his Holy Light and his Frisbee. He has no healing for a long period of time. That was a moment, if I'm Octalysis, I'd like to punish that. That is the biggest downside to having the Uther on the side of Chimera, but cooldown's back. He's going to be fine.
Yeah, I think you bring up a good point, because the Pulse Bomb is available, and if somebody's communicating that, then it's there. Singularity Spike will land onto Chimera, but Swabs' positioning, he's waiting to see if an opportunity presents itself as Octalysis continues to move forward. He's trying to see if he can find somebody. Does find somebody. Justin goes in for some poke. Dark Chimera forced to heal. Justin trying to play around the Vorpal, trying to play around the wormhole, manages to survive, but the rest of the team, Solo somehow surviving, gets one more blink out. Now they're trying to turn it. That is on Uther. The Ghost of Uther heals are here, trying to keep the team alive as Goku holding on, see if he has a drag. He does. That's going to be the feeding frenzy, surviving off those heals, but they are now gone. And Octalysis has taken a 2-for-0 trade, and they will take a 2-for-1 trade by way of the altars.
And JL, the biggest thing to highlight over that last skirmish was not necessarily all the micro that was done when it came to the individuals in the team fight. It is the understanding of the compositional advantages on the side of Octalysis. They go in with the initiation, it doesn't look good. LFM has a almost near flawless counter initiation to that skirmish as the Urel leap coming over the corner, setting everybody's health bars down to 30% by Octalysis. But they reset for just a moment. Whitemane throws out multiple heals, getting multiple Zeal value on different targets, puts a full rotation of damage out from her Lash, have Tyrande get the counter heals on the off targets, and they waited 6 seconds to just go, we're back to full HP, let's fight. And then it didn't look close beyond that point. LFM needs to win over that immediate initiation, or this composition will just constantly get out-supported.
And how hard is that, I think, is the question, because there was a really good initiation. Swab sat in that push, patiently waiting, found a moment, isolated Justin on that Zeratul. Whitemane maybe keeps them alive by herself because her healing's insane, but that's double support. How often, or how easy is it to adapt on the fly, knowing that it's like, man, guys, I don't know how often we've practiced against Tyrande Whitemane, and this initiation was dang near flawless, but we couldn't kill anybody. They were awfully close to pulling it off.
I think a lot of it is going to come down to Dark Chimera, to be honest. And I say that when he already has one of the harder games I think you can have as an Uther. A Zeratul Tracer matchup is pretty difficult to understand. Not necessarily can I hit my abilities, that's the easy part. It's when is it most valuable, which is already a struggling question considering armor is only temporarily available after you heals as Uther. Like, for instance, I would argue in the last skirmish, when he got Vorpaled on top of, he moved with the Hammer of Justice when no DPS was there to trade into Justin. Any Hammer of Justice he sends, he needs to be threatening a kill with, because the initiation is not going to be enough as the Void comes through. 5 shots there. Goku coming in. Isolation. Nice cleanse, though, out from Dark Chimera. Allows for that natural agility.
That was timely by both players on both sides of the battleground. Without level 10, Justin will wear the shots, ends up getting the kill onto Hanzo there. Not only did he stop that scatter arrow from interrupting the altar, but he also landed the kill shot there to get the trade out. So Justin showing that he can play just about anything. And they instantly rotate over to the boss. We'll pick up another 4 shots and establish a 36-20 lead here in game number 2.
LFM doing their best on bottom, trying to get that damage for that experience, but at this point the game is very much in the control of Team Octalysis. Still yet to see the heroic choice selection from all of the members of LFM. Dark Chimera wondering the Divine Shield. He will commit to that. I'm expecting Avatar. This does not look like a Haymaker game.
Nah.
If any deviation we were going to get, it was between Earthquake Sundering, and I think this is absolutely a Sundering game. Like, not even close comparative, but I did think Divine Storm could gain value into the double squishies of Octalysis, but it makes their comp that much more kind of all in. And the biggest thing is Thrall's not the best Divine Shield target. Hanzo, not bad, but is he going to get the kill needed in that small time frame that this comp needs? And I don't know if that's the case, and I wonder if Divine Storm would pay off more here for LFM. But we'll find out. Next skirmish, I think, is going to be a big breaking point.
You brought up a lot of very different complexities in your last point. I think it's one of those things that as people hear you elaborate on that more and more, it does make sense on the heal priority, the Divine Shield priority, and making sure that whoever's getting all that is the one. And I think it's something that a lot of people, if you're playing the support role, what Dread's saying, he's broke it down to me. I can tell you it's not one of those things you pick up instantly, but it's a very good point. And Justin's bringing in a hammer and a root.
Oh,
the Sunder just missed.
That's a huge setback. Losing that Sunder. Jay, how we saw the last time window when they had everything. We said now when Heroics are here, is it going to change? And I think losing that initiation to a Sunder, or the counter initiation, is going to be a major setback. Isolation lands there onto Dark Chimera. Can he get the D-Shield after? Not going to be an option as the kill comes through. First kill here for Octalysis. Do they find more?
I want to go back to that play because the timing on that was perfect. Goku, I think, landed another dragon there. There's the slow. Avatar forced to be used. No healing static for Fury to walk away. But the absolute perfect part of what Goku just did was first he lands the isolation. He knows when that isolation is going to wear off. D-Shield's available as well as potential heals coming out. As soon as that's wearing off, he does not overlap his own CC, waits until that very last second lands the drag for a follow-up stun on his own ability and then helps confirm the kill. The majority of that was done by Goku. It's fun to watch when you can pull that off as flawlessly as he did.
Yeah, it's the second time here that we've seen that synergy between the Void as the combo comes out onto Buds. LFM answering back here in bot lane. But I was just going to say, you know, the communication there between the Void Prison dropping into the isolation. Second time we've gotten that combo from Octalysis, and it's looked great both times. But now LFM with a kill onto Buds. They're trying their best to get the siege damage out. They need structural control. The desperation showing in the decision-making. Now Dark Chimera, Hammer of Justice comes out, but there's a drag. Good juke there, but Justin, clean shot with that wormhole in.
See if they can track it down. The stun will land. No pulse bomb, but he should have it there. Generally, you'll see the RWE. There's going to be a takedown onto Fury, but he used his W to get that last percentage towards that pulse bomb and then was able to execute. The reason you RWE is because you R, and then you get that W value to get your next pulse bomb quicker. Broke the chain there just so he could land it, created enough chaos, they get another kill.
LFM will have all 5 members for this next altar, spawning in 20 seconds. I said the last fight was going to be a breaking point, and the momentum did fall farther against against LFM. But now the structural damage coming out and the experience closing in, this feels like it's going to be the 16 talents here plus some, as Octalysis kind of plays ring around the rosy if LFM can't figure out this fight. This is the moment, JL. They have all their hooks. Sundering is here. Everything is here. Can LFM win this skirmish before Octalysis reheals?
There's the Dragon Arrow. That will fall. But a nice soft cleanse there from Tyrande with her level 1 talent. Goku has now entered the fray. Trying to land, does miss the drag. Fury does have 13, does have the Avatar, but we see the root on the other side onto Swabs. The heal coming out from Dark Chimera keeps them alive for now, but Octalysis, all those health bars are still almost full Dread.
LFM does not have time on their side. Double support, keeping the health bars of Octalysis higher. They have to go, and they have to go now. Goku is going to start there with the isolation. A lot of damage going on to Goku. He's going to burrow below, forcing out a 3-man void. If Swabs can survive, they might be able to turn it. There is the Ardent Defender, Lunar Flare, landing onto droplets. Fury goes in, Pulse Bomb there. The Hammer of Justice and the Divine Shield from Dark Chimera keeps him alive. Huge plays there from that Uther.
They survive for now, but Justin is going in, and there's the 4-pull. That is an all-star play. Put down that spray as well, Justin, and he knows when he made the play right there. Swabs jumps back in. He's going to be a casualty of this fight, and Octalysis just keeping up the pace, 32-12. They'll claim this bottom bell tower as well as that double kill, and they'll hit 16 behind this. Fury has to be careful. That pulse bomb is there and waiting.
Big Lunar Flare there, traded, goes in, gets damage onto Fury and sets up another kill. Figgy now is going to be the focus, Justin with the body blocks. Cleanse coming through, but it's just delaying the inevitable there as Figgy, Dragon's Arrow, man, this is a lot of cooldowns being kind of just thrown out at this point here for LFM. Definitely the desperation being felt, but the bell tower is converted. And now it's feels as if it is Octalysis' almost game to lose, 32-12 in terms of shots.
They're in a position now, is Octalysis, if they keep up the talent tier advantage before LFM picks up 16 going into the next altar phase. It's triple altar phase. You only need 2 in a boss. You could get all 3 and end the game if you win a team fight. Octalysis, 2 kills, and it's game over. They get double altar, they get a boss, and all they need, 1 kill, somewhat confident, 2 kill, you know that you got it. So it's very desperate for LFM now, and that ding is not what they wanted to hear at this point. They will be unable to get 16 before it starts. If they have enough stall potential, maybe. But it's going to be very difficult, as they also have sappers that will be pressing the bottom.
Chain combo, pulse bomb onto Figgy. Able to survive there thanks to the armor out from Uther. Sappers make their way in 2. Actually, I believe it's just 1.
Oh, weren't they at 12?
Am I crazy? I might be crazy.
Maybe they were 10. Either way, they're still in a prime position to end the game. They're already channeling the middle altar is Octalysis. They need 1 more at this point, which will be enough. Another VP goes down. Swab's trying to hop in that, or at least get over himself. Does have the Ardent Defender. Cleanse used onto Fury. They're surviving for now. D-Shield was used onto Hanzo, but the rest of LFM is so low here in this fight, and it does not matter. Goku got, oh wait, no he did not.
Yeah, the last auto attack there from Dark Chimera barely got the interrupt. Now coming back to get the heals. Fury able to survive there as he dwarf toss out. First to drop is between Dark Chimera there. Urel following up with that 5-man wipe for Octalysis. And that is all she wrote. Game number 2 here, going over to Team Octalysis in another dominant and convincing fashion. 13 minutes and a half in game 1, 15-1 in terms of kills here on Towers of Doom. The only thing stopping them from meeting that 13-minute mark, I can't help but feel like, is the fact that you just can't attack the core.
They did it on, what was the one on towers that we saw before? It was wild.
Yeah, it was ridiculous.
They like these quick games. They are showing their dominant fashion. You saw them putting down sprays in that game. You too still have another week left. 23rd, I believe, is the last day. When you cheer, you can find your HGC sprays, banners, and everything in Twitch chats. Don't forget to do that. Just 1 week left there. You can get your sprays down. I've seen some questions out there on some of the social medias. It's available. You can even get the spray that they were using in that game. That's for one of the Chinese teams. You can get any region you want there with those. So don't forget, you got 1 more week left to get those before that closes at the end of part 2 here.
But now that we are 2 games into the series, we've got to raise the fact that LFM, something we talked about at the beginning, they need any map win that they can. Right now, yes, they are outside of the Crucible range in theory, but there is only 1 game difference. So to not find what feels like even nearly competitive games in the first 2 games is very concerning when looking at their possibilities and their future. And this is a team that, you know, has had their bumps and bruises, but has that slow and steady rise here. I can't help but feel like they deserve, you know, have earned that place here so far. But Octalysis just flat denying it.
They're making their own climb. Straight to the top, it feels like, for that team.
Yeah.
But they find themselves up 2-0 here. We're going to see if they can close it out. LFM, they need every win that they can. They're going to try and pick them up. It'll come after this break. We'll be right back.